Open a business magazine today, and you'll find a single, unavoidable command: innovate, disrupt, adapt, or die. Modern marketing theory suggests that in a fast-moving market, the only way to survive is to constantly reinvent who you are and what you sell. Yet the organizations that dominate the globe often take the opposite path. Coca-Cola has tethered itself to the concepts of positivity and happiness for over a century. They have sponsored the Olympics since the 1920s and global soccer since the 50s, refusing to pivot their core identity. Consider Disney. For decades, they have guarded a single position: magical family entertainment. The emotional familiarity you see here, with children rushing the castle, represents a specific promise kept across 3 generations. Volvo has followed a similar trajectory. They invented the 3-point seatbelt in 1959 and have owned the automotive safety position without interruption ever since. This creates a contradiction. While markets demand relentless strategic agility, the evidence shows that brands' strategic consistency acts as a stored asset. It requires the discipline to protect a brand's position, even when internal pressures encourage you to walk away from it. This chart shows the structural power of brand equity. A brand that frequently rebrands follows this jagged line, resetting its progress to 0 with every new logo or slogan. Those that stick to their strategy experience a compounding growth curve, fueled by 5 mechanical benefits. The first pillar is memory impact. Repeating brand features solidifies their place in the consumer's mind until the connection becomes automatic, requiring 0 active cognitive processing. The second pillar is owning a position. When a company claims a specific attribute for decades, competitors are effectively preempted. Rivals find themselves forced into less compelling territory because the primary attribute is already occupied. Third is the power of familiarity. People gravitate toward what they recognize. Long-term continuity builds a sense of comfort that consumers translate into trust and authenticity. Fourth is organizational culture. A message repeated to the public for years eventually stabilizes the internal team. It aligns employee behavior and prevents off-brand decisions from ever reaching the market. And fifth is cost-effectiveness. Once a position is established, reinforcing it is highly efficient. Breaking new ground is an expensive and uncertain process that requires massive investments in research and creative testing. These 5 pillars stabilize market share. Decades of discipline transform a legacy into a structural barrier that competitors struggle to bridge. However, consistency shouldn't become stubbornness. If a large segment of customers stops buying the subcategory your brand is attached to, you face an immediate threat of irrelevance. This flowchart illustrates the rigorous evaluation required before a brand pivots. The central question is the problem our brand strategy, or is our product offering failing? If a retailer is losing sales because its locations are inconvenient, a new advertising campaign is a futile distraction. Legitimate change is rare, reserved for permanent market shifts, the emergence of a clear reason not to buy, or a total change in organizational purpose. Under these specific conditions, a rebrand functions as a calculated pivot. It aligns the organization with a new marketplace reality. Data shows long-term consistency creates higher value, yet unnecessary rebrands happen every day. These errors usually stem from the marketing team's internal psychology. The first internal threat is professional boredom. Brand teams review their own messaging daily. They often grow tired of their own strategy years before the consumer does, incorrectly assuming the audience is just as bored as they are. Second is the desire for personal brilliance. Marketers often view consistency as not fun. They believe career advancement requires launching a new campaign to show off their creative skills, rather than implementing a pre-existing strategy well. The third bias is short-term pressure. Executives facing a slight dip in quarterly sales often look for a quick fix. Because changing operations is difficult, they overhaul the brand strategy to demonstrate they are taking action. Finally, there is the aspiration trap. This is the futile search for a perfect campaign to solve deep operational issues. It is a compulsive waste of resources that usually results in a significant brand setback. Maintaining a brand vision constitutes a rigorous test of corporate discipline. A strategist should only interrupt an on-brand strategy when the proven benefits of changing outweigh the certain destruction of hard-earned equity. Stick to the job.